William Patterson University Television.
Can you believe it? The New York Mets are the best team in Major League Baseball. The 10-1 start is also the best in franchise history. They're now fresh off back-to-back road sweeps, the first time they've done that in 27 years. The bullpen has been lights out, and overall the pitching has kept their ERA under a 2.5. It's worth noting that of the other 5 teams that have started 10-1 in the wild card era, 3 have not made the postseason. We'll bring in Stephen Bologna to get a better picture on if this Mets team is actually for real. Stephen, like I said earlier, 3 of the other 5 teams to go 10-1 did not wind up qualifying for the playoffs. What side will the Mets fall on come October?
Well, I must say that the Mets have really exceeded my personal expectations as well as many of the league experts' expectations. I think the Mets, right now I think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they will win the division. I think the Nationals, they're the better team overall. I think they're going to pick it up. They have a slow start, but they'll get better. I do think the Mets will definitely make a wild card. They're flowing right now. They have veteran leaders stepping up like Jay Bruce as well as Todd Frazier. And their Fab Five, they're 5-0 right now. They're starting rotation. And we can't forget that they have the 2017 All-Star Jason Vargas hurt. So when he comes back, that pitching staff's going to get even better. I really like the way they're playing.
On Wednesday, it was announced that Travis d'Arnaud has a partial tear in his UCL. It is his throwing hand, and according to reports, he may need Tommy John surgery. For now, he's been placed on the 10-day DL, but Tommy John would mean that he's out the rest of the season. Stephen, how big of a deal is this?
This is a huge deal. Travis d'Arnaud, many had high expectations coming into the year. Many thought he would be a better hitter than defender, but actually he's proved that he's not that good at both. And now Travis Plawecki, the replacement, got hurt last night. He broke his hand. So now where do the Mets move? I could see the Mets possibly trading for a catcher, a guy like JT Realmuto from the Marlins, or even a guy from the Reds like Tucker Barnhart. But I mean, the Mets do have the trade capital to do it, and I think they could beef up their farm system as well. But on the other hand, they have 2 catchers that combined play 1 game in the MLB with Raul Neto and Lobato. So I think they need to make an improvement fast.
Yeah, big hole at the catcher position. Brandon Nimmo was optioned to AAA to make room for Michael Conforto on the roster. Nimmo started off red hot, a .600 on-base percentage, but we know what Conforto is. Where do the Mets go from here with Nimmo? Is he a trade piece? Depth? Can they make room for him? What happens?
I think he'd be a great trade piece, honestly. You see his potential here. He starts off the season with a bang. The Mets really don't have room for him. You look at their outfield. Yoenis Cespedes, multi-year deal. Jay Bruce, multi-year deal. And Michael Conforto is one of the future stars of the MLB. They also have Juan Lagares in the outfield, who's playing pretty well. I could see a nice trade package with Nimmo. They could hang on to him, but who knows if he's going to want to stay that long being, a rotation player or down in AAA. I think they can get some good prospects for him to a team that's rebuilding who's going to look for a nice young outfielder like Nimmo. Sorry.
Thanks for stopping in, Stephen. That was Stephen Bologna with the latest on the Mets. Now to the Bronx, where the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry is starting to rejuvenate itself here in 2018. The highlights, Game 3 rubber match at Fenway. Let's see if anything goes down after a rowdy Game 2. And it does. Sonny Gray comes a bit inside to Hanley Ramirez, gets him on the hand. Didn't look intentional, but Hanley has to leave the game. Both benches are warned. Bottom 2 runners in scoring position. Dustin Pedroia grounds it to second. Tyler Wade goes home with it and sends it to the backstop. Boston extends their lead. Next inning, it's going to be a routine pop-up down the left field line. But nothing is routine for Giancarlo Stanton. He loses the ball, a run scores. Talk about a rough beginning and pinstripes for Stanton. Meanwhile, Rick Porcello pitched a perfect game until the 7th. Got himself into trouble, got himself right back out. 6 strikeouts, 7 strong innings. But hold everything, the Yankees get the bases loaded with Sanchez at the plate. He sends it into no man's land out in center field. The bases are cleared, and all of a sudden the lead is cut in half. But the Red Sox are done playing games. They bring in the heavy artillery. Kimbrel strikes out 2 of 3, and the Red Sox take 2 of 3 from the Yankees. They move to 10-2 on the year. The Yankees fall a game under 500. Here's Giancarlo with his brief explanation of that misplayed ball.
I had it as three or four rows in the seats. I was about ready to jump over the fence, and it just kicked back on me.
I'm now joined by Chris Douglas for our second edition of Overreaction. A couple brawls already in the first 2 weeks of baseball. On Wednesday, we saw Nolan Arenado charge the mound against the Padres after getting thrown behind him. A couple hours later, the Yankees and Red Sox going at it with two of their own brawls. Overreaction. 2018 baseball will be more like 1980s baseball, and we'll see more fights than ever.
I think that is an overreaction. I think this was more of a coincidental thing where two fights happen just a few hours outside of each other. We know how heated the Yankees and the Red Sox can be, so I think this is just a coincidence. A couple fights happened within a few hours here early on in the season. Tempers were flaring. I don't think it's going to last long into this season.
The story of the year so far, the second coming of Babe Ruth, Shohei Ohtani. The critics were all over him after a bad spring training, but oh, did he turn things around. 2-0 in his first two starts with an ERA just a tick above 2. Oh, and he also hits 3 home runs, 18 RBIs, a .364 clip. Overreaction, Ohtani is the early favorite for AL MVP.
That is not an overreaction. I would give him the MVP right now if the season ended, simply because he can take the mound every 6th day and throw 100 and have a great start, quality starts. We've seen what he can do on the mound. And then at the plate as well, he offers very viable production, hitting lefty and getting a lot of extra base hits early on in this season.
It's been a pretty rough start for Andrew McCutchen. It's been a downward slope for him the last couple of years, so the Pirates shipped him off to the Giants in the offseason. So far, he's 10-46 with them. This is a 5-time All-Star, the 2013 MVP. He hits free agency this winter, and we saw how stingy teams were last offseason. Overreaction, McCutchen is not in the MLB in 2019 if his season continues like this.
That is not an overreaction. We saw how slow the free agent market can be. If you're an outfielder especially, because teams are going to have outfield depth, I'm not sure if McCutchen finds a job next season if this season is a really bad season for him. And so far, it has been a bad season. I think he's a good enough player to turn it around, but if he cannot, he's got to watch out for his job next season.
Lots of unexpected stories to start this 2018 season. Tonight, the 10-1 Mets start their 3-game series with the Brewers at Citi Field. Meanwhile, the Yankees try and bounce back in Detroit. Coming up next, the NBA playoff schedule is set. Can LeBron get to his 8th straight finals? Find out next. We'll be right back.